Listening to 100 Dyslexia Devoted podcasts and crossing paths almost weekly with Lisa Parnello has provided me with the reassurance that there are proven strategies to address my grandson's learning differences. Lisa, thank you for helping these precious boys experience success and become enthusiastic readers. You are so appreciated.
Lisa helps me with all the things I have to know for reading. Lisa is a kind and thoughtful reading and writing tutor. She always knows what to do and has an inviting personality.
Hello, and welcome to Dyslexia Devoted, the podcast dedicated to building awareness, understanding, and strategies to help those with dyslexia. I'm your host, Lisa Parnello, dyslexia therapist and founder of Parnello Education Services. Join me as we dive into today's episode of Dyslexia Devoted. Hello, and welcome to the 100th episode of Dyslexia Devoted. Thank you so much for joining me. I am beyond delighted to share this day of celebration with you. So, since it's our 100th episode, usually our episodes have a main idea and 3 little subtopics. And instead, I'm going to do it a little differently because it is our 100th episode. So I've decided it is a theme of celebrations. And so that celebration is going to go in a few different directions. It is going to be sharing some of my own personal wins since the 100 episodes started all the way back at number 1. I'm going to be sharing some of the winning episodes with the most downloads because we are now up to about 19,000 downloads of this podcast since it started 100 episodes ago, which I'm very excited about. And if you are enjoying this podcast, it would mean the world to me if you could share it with somebody that you think would also enjoy this podcast. Since I've learned long ago, social media is not how you grow a podcast. Having listeners who love listening and share it with their friends is really the only way that podcasts really grow. So I would absolutely love if you give it a 5-star rating on Apple Podcast or Spotify or wherever you're listening, or if you share it with a friend. Things like that are how this podcast has made it to 100 episodes, is when people share their love of Dyslexia Devoted. So please, please, please keep sharing and spreading the word. I'm also going to be sharing some kid wins and kid stories because I've gotten a lot of feedback from parents and educators who love hearing the positive, good stories. I'm also going to be sharing the 5 winners of the online courses. If you had listened to last week's episode, I mentioned I'd be drawing some random names of those of you who are on the Dyslexia Devoted newsletter. So I've drawn some perfectly random names. Thank you, Google, for the random number generator. And I'm going to be sharing the winners. And then if you are not one of the winners, I'm also going to be sharing a special promo code just for the 100th episode that if you are listening in real time, not like a year from now, I have a special promo code for you to get a special discount on any of the courses if you did not get to be one of the lucky winners. All right, so jumping in, let's start with my personal wins. First of all, I've done 100 episodes of a podcast, so that is a major win. Almost 2 years ago, exactly, I left my job at a school for kids with dyslexia and decided to expand my tutoring private practice that used to be my little side hustle because teachers don't make enough money. And I turned it into my full-time job, which was a scary leap of faith, hoping that I would have enough kids to fill my days. Boy, was I wrong on being worried about that one. There are more than enough kids at any time of day for me to work with, so that should not have been a worry, apparently. And I did it. I am a woman-owned business. I run it all by myself. I don't really have any help. I'm not sure if that's something I should brag about or I should just be brave and hire somebody one day, but that day is not today. And a lot of small businesses fail within the first year or two, and I didn't. So hip hip hooray on that one. I do unfortunately still work too many hours. I work too long of days. I'll totally admit this, but I've managed to keep a 4-day work week for the last 2 years and stick to it for the most part. Every once in a while, I'll do a cancellation and a kid will Zoom me from the weekend if we have to make up for some really weird reason. But in general, I try not to work any weekends, and that has really worked out really well for me. So I've been able to have 3-day weekends for the last 2 years. Hip, hip, hooray. And like Memorial Day is coming up, therefore I get a 4-day weekend since I don't work Fridays, and Monday's a holiday for everyone. So that's always an amazing feeling. And I've tallied it up, and my business has helped over 45 families and over 50 children. And in fact, I'm probably missing a few along the way because I was tired when I was counting them all up. that is a lot of kids for me to know that I've helped and families that I've helped just from my business. That does not count the hundreds of kids that I've helped as being a leader of a school and as being a teacher in a classroom or many classrooms over the years in multiple states of different kinds of kids. And it is really powerful to know that I have a business that does good for kids and families. And now the business is consistently doing well. I can now give a monthly contribution to the local food bank, which is a really cool thing because did you know women-owned businesses are the most likely to give back to other causes? It's pretty great. And another big win is I'm significantly less stressed. Okay, well, just don't talk to me on the day I'm hitting submit on my estimated taxes because boy, does that hurt. Somehow getting the money taken out of your paycheck every week does not hurt nearly as much as being a small business owner writing one gigantic check every quarter. But in general, it is significantly less stressful. The kids are happy, the parents are happy, and life is just generally a lot better. And I'm really loving that I'm still working with kids. That leaving a school did not mean not working with kids and not helping families. And that's really awesome. Okay, now for the top 5 episodes, and there's a few different ways I can calculate this, so I'm choosing to go on the most consumed, meaning that people listened all the way to the very end of the episode because they enjoyed it so much they finished the whole thing. So, the first one is episode 77, How AI Helps and Hurts Kids with Learning Differences. The second one, episode 80, Helping Kids Set Goals. The third, episode number 60, The Downside of Summer Homework. And episode number 55, Preventing the Summer Slide. And last but not least, episode number 5, What is Multisensory Instruction? So those were some of the most consumed episodes, so I will link them for you in the show notes where you're listening to this, or as always, you can find it on my website, parnelloeducation.com/episode 100. Okay, now for some kid stories. Let's talk about a few things that I have seen in just the last month or two from the kids. One is that I've had 3 different kids ask for extra time and extra tutoring. Now, please note, I did not say the parents asked for extra time. I said the kids asked for extra time. When a child knows they have a support system that works and they actively ask for it, that is the biggest win ever. So to have not 1, not 2, but 3 different kids ask for more time and more support so that they could finish the year strong is a huge achievement because these exact kids were the same ones who refuse to ask for help, will always insist that they are fine, and pretend like everything is good when everything is not good. So for these 3 specific kids to ask for help because they need it and they know that it'll make them do better and feel better, it is really, really the most powerful thing that there is. If we can teach kids to advocate for what they need so that they can be successful and not a falling apart mess throwing a temper tantrum. Yes, I've seen 2 of those 3 kids. Actually, no, all 3 of them. I've seen them throw 2-year-old level temper tantrums when things got hard. So it shows the power of teaching kids to advocate that they calmly asked for what they needed and they got it. I went out of my way. I Zoomed on the weekend. I stayed late at night just because these kids really asked for extra help and I knew they really needed it. And I knew it was a big deal for them to be brave enough to just ask. Another quote actually came from one of my 8th graders. And she was working on something really challenging. And all of a sudden she goes, I did it. And I'm really proud of that. Because sometimes it's hard to admit that things are hard. And so when you realize something is hard, but you can do it anyway, and be really proud of yourself that you did it, that is a powerful thing. Moments like that are what build intrinsic motivation. Those moments are what help you move to the next level. Seeing that you put in hard work and something good came of it makes you willing to put in more hard work again another day. All right, time for another win. I actually had one kid who ended his services early this year, ahead of schedule, because we did the right intervention really early when the kiddo was only a 1st grader. And we were able to get him the help that he needed right when he needed it before he could completely fall apart at school. And then the student actually started working with a teacher who does really excellent reading instruction following the science of reading. So between the 2 of us, this child went from being really behind, feeling really down on himself, and not feeling like he can do it, to actually ending services early with me because we got that intervention quick and efficiently and done where it was a collaborative effort maybe more passively, his teacher and I never talked, but I praised his mom to say what a rock star job his teacher has been doing. Because what I wasn't teaching him, she was in our time periods on and off. So I taught some skills and she's taught some of the others. And it all came together as a very cohesive piece where I filled in some of the holes and she did the core instruction with really good teaching techniques. And it worked out amazingly well. I love to see a kid not need me anymore. So this next one is one that is on a sticky note in Chicken Scratch, my own Chicken Scratch. I actually keep sticky notes next to me when I teach for a variety of reasons, but one of which is so that I can write down amazing things that kids say, because I swear I could write a whole book on them. In fact, I've thought about it more times than I can count. So one of the phrases that came out of one of the little boy's mouth was, I took a book away from him. And he was really mad at me because he did not want me to take the book away from him because he was enjoying reading it way too much. And he told me, when you take away my books, it weakens my strength. That came out of the mouth of a second grader with dyslexia. When you take away my books, it weakens my strength. A second grader with dyslexia thinks that books are his strength and that he needs them. That means I'm doing my job right. So as we go on this journey through dyslexia, a lot of times it starts as a very, very bumpy road. And it's really hard to see where that bumpy, rocky road is eventually going to lead to. And if you can slowly build up that pathway to make it stronger and stronger, it can be a much smoother ride. It's not always easy. It's not always a straight line, but we can get there. And I feel like this podcast has been my way of sharing that journey of a lot of kids with you. Some days I'm in the little down spots, and some days we're celebrating the wins. And that's reality. That's life. It's not always going to be perfect or cheerful or happy, but that doesn't mean it's not going to have a happy ending or that it's not going to lead to some really amazing things. And I think that's kind of my journey as well. There was a very bumpy, rocky road. There was a lot of tears before I left my job. And then I created a job I love. I picked all of the favorite things I have at the school and turned it into a job. I train teachers. I help parents, I teach kids, and I take longer weekends. And I don't work with mean people. It's just a rule I have. If you're rude and disrespectful, I don't work with you. And I'm allowed to do that because it's my own business, so I can say that. So please celebrate with me by finding out the winners of the online courses. So if I say your name, you're going to have to check your email because, first of all, there's probably more than one person with these first names because they are pretty common names for a lot of them. That's just the way it is. But I also don't want to say email addresses out to the public because that's rude and privacy invasion. So I did a random number generator of the 700 and some odd people who are on the Dyslexia Devoted newsletter, and it spit out random numbers. And so I'm going to tell you what numbers they were and the first name of the person who won. If you are the person who won the course, I will send you an email and you get to pick from any of my online courses or workshops, and I will upload you into the system and you get it totally for free. If you do not win and you would still like to check out the online courses, there is a special promo code from now till the end of Memorial Day, which is May 27th, 2024. And if you enter the code episode 100, so the word episode, no spaces, and the digits 100, I will also put that in the show notes down below wherever you are listening to this. And it will also be in the Dyslexia Devoted newsletter this week. The promo code for 40% off any of my courses is only good until the end of Memorial Day on May 27th, 2024. Okay, without further ado, winner number 1. You were random number 265. Stephen, you get a course. Random number 2 was 559, Jackie. Winner number 3 was number 234, Lorraine. Winner 589 is Jacqueline. Maybe Jacqueline. That's also a possibility. And number 561, which is Stacy. So congratulations to my winners. I will be sending you an email and you get to pick any of my online courses or workshops to get totally for free. And if you are not a winner, just enter promo code episode 100 for any of the online courses and you get a 40% off discount. So everyone's a winner in some way. Thank you for joining me for 100 episodes of Dyslexia Devoted. I really hope we can have 100 more. Please note, I am taking vacation at the beginning of June, And so there's definitely a possibility there might be a little break in between episodes for a week or so. But my hope is to get one more episode out to you guys before I leave. And so hopefully next week there will be one more episode to go, as long as this holiday weekend doesn't turn into too many family adventures. That's it for today. I will see you next time for episode 101. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. If you want to learn even more about dyslexia, check out parnelloeducation.com/courses. See you next time.